Hey guys, so I figured I would do a little audio about this whole DaniLeigh, Dababy argument situation, like this whole thing that, there was like a debacle that they had. And he basically recorded the whole thing and was like, it's like he was live while they were fighting, like back and forth and shit. And it got really disrespectful. And I wanted to offer. I wanted to offer a Latina's perspective of this whole shit. Okay, first and foremost, all right, things like this make me so glad I am out the fucking hood. That's number one. Number two, the other thing that I'm so glad is that I. I was never the preference in the hood. So I was never the what would be considered the spicy Latina. Because that's the term that I hear when it comes to women like DaniLeigh in these types of situations, that she'd be considered the spicy Latina, right? And I was never considered the spicy Latina. I'm mild. Okay, I'm mild. I'm Americanized. I don't speak Spanish. Yeah. Right. I'm like more on the whitewashed side, but yes, I did grow up in the hood, and I was never the preference. Okay. So, when I see things like this, it takes me back to witnessing this type of dysfunction. Now, before I begin, when I'm going to talk about all this dysfunction, I'm not in any way, shape, or form implying that my relationships were perfect, that I didn't make mistakes, because, when it came to relationships, I'm not saying that my marriage is perfect. I'm not saying any of that shit. All right? So before people come up under my comments and start saying dumb shit after some of the stuff that I say, shut the hell up. Okay? Because that's not what I'm saying. All right? But what I will say is, from both sides, right? These type of chicks, and I feel bad for her. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel bad for DaniLeigh, and a little bit. I feel bad for when she did that yellow bone shit. That was retarded. That song. I mean, that was like, that shit made every whiter skin Latin woman look like crap. On it just dead ass honest. I know that I've gotten into different colorism type topics on my channel, and I think that when I did a video when she about that whole yellow bone song thing months ago, I think that I think some people didn't like some of the stuff that I was saying, because maybe they felt as though I was going against lighter skinned Latin women, which is bullshit. I just thought that was a stupid representation of us. It just dead ass was. What was good about that? The song was terrible. It made no goddamn sense. It was stupid. And it came across really disrespectful, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? Dudes love these types of chicks in the hood. They do. Like the ones that catch attitude, the ones that fight back. And then on the other hand, women in the hood love these types of fucking idiot dudes. They really do. The ones that want to have a bunch of children with different women. They want to sleep around with everybody in the neighborhood, right? And basically the only difference with this scenario is that this kid got money, and that's it. These kids got money. That's all it is. That's the only difference. But these types of dysfunctional ass relationships, you see them in the hood all the time. And it's not just amongst, because of course people are going to make the argument that, this is a Latin woman, Dominican, and then, this dude is a Black American dude, right? And that this is, this stuff happens with Latin and Latin relationships too. Don't get the shit fucked up. It's not just, Black people that do this retarded shit in the hood. All right? It's definitely not. Boy, have I seen it. Thank God that those were fucking bullets that I dodged. Right? All the mistakes I've made, there were certain things, and I guess a lot of it has to do with, like I've said before, I'll say it again, growing up, basically around mostly men, right? So, I get the impression with this Dababy dude that, especially when DaniLeigh made that song, right? He just gives me the impression that he's the type of guy that likes to gaslight, right? So he sounds like he was the type that when he was really into DaniLeigh, like he propped her up, he put her on a pedestal. He made her seem like she was the best thing on earth, right? And he probably simultaneously, while he did that, he was putting down his other baby's moms, right? Guaranteed that's what he was doing. Now, whether he was putting those women down directly or indirectly, he was doing that. And what ended up happening? She was never his first. She was never gonna be his first. But all this, the shit that he was telling her to gas her up is to keep her there and to give her the impression that she's gonna be the first. And then when you see the video clip of her talking and she's saying that he's not ready, you know what that means? That means that she's gonna be waiting for this motherfucker. He's not ready. When she said he's not ready, I'm like, oh my God, I've seen girls like this in the hood before. They get pregnant by these dudes and they're gonna stay waiting. I don't know what the fuck she's waiting for. When pigs fly. That dude's never gonna take you seriously. Ever. I don't care, she speaks more than one language. That don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. And she's young, so she didn't see through it. She didn't see it coming. And then she's still sleeping with this dude, and I'm like, I guess you're going to get pregnant by him again, because that's probably what's going to happen. And people could use the argument that, well, at least she got the money, at least, money, but is that worth it? Is that worth it? And I saw so many girls go through things like this. And I remember, funnily enough, because I've seen Puerto Rican chicks with Puerto Rican dudes, Puerto Rican chicks that were with black dudes, Puerto Rican chicks that were, white dudes. I've seen it all that went through things like this, all right? But there's one particular story that I know of. Right? It's like I want to say it, but I won't say any names, all right? And in this case, the chick was Dominican, right? And the dude, he was, I think he might have been biracial. I don't remember. He was light skinned. He was a light skinned black dude. And I remember him and I'm remembering their zodiacs. Let me not even get into zodiacs. Let me not. There's just certain signs that I could see through. And sorry, I'm not going to do that though. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But like, we all worked at the same place, right? And this dude, everybody liked this dude. Like, they thought he was, he wasn't a bad looking guy or whatever, but there was something about him I did not like him. And there was just, he had this real, at that time it came across to me as, I guess you would say, real arrogant. And he really thought that he was the shit, and like he just gave off that impression that he really thought that he was better than everybody. And I see right through that. But a lot of women liked him. Everybody liked him, and I was just the only one who was just like, I don't like this kid, like, I don't trust this kid. And he was dating this girl that I was friends with who was Dominican, and I remember the pure hell that he would put her through. So, cheat on her. And then it was even one time I remember her telling me that he was just using her for sex. And she was hysterical, crying. I remember telling us that. And I'm like, what are you doing? And this girl, let me tell you, best looking chick at the job. Best looking, hands down. From DR and everything. She was beautiful. And every guy liked her. Every guy. She could have had any guy she wanted. Any guy. And in my head I'm like, oh my God, please. I think I remember I even told her, I said, please don't get pregnant by this guy. That was like the one piece of advice that I could give. I was like, please just don't get pregnant by this guy. Because she was so caught up and so stuck on him that, like, any piece of advice that we gave her, she just kept going back. And I remember we had like a get together at our house, and we had invited them, and I don't remember what it was that he did, but I ended up snapping at the guy, and he looked at me so shocked because he wasn't used to that. And him and I had a back and forth. Now, it wasn't like a blowout argument, but it was me kind of, sternly putting him in his place, because I don't remember what it was that he said, but it was disrespectful. And he's not used to anybody, especially women, putting him in his place. You don't come to my house and say something stupid and think I'm not going to check the fuck out of you. You got to be out of your mind, right? And I remember he was so taken aback by it, and I saw his eyes bug out. And and it wasn't even like, I wasn't intending to be nasty or anything like that, but it was like his attitude, and like, where in my head I'm like, where do you get off, speaking like that, or speaking to me like that, or basically I checked him. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I just remembered his reaction, just being so surprised. And he treated me differently after that. But I really didn't care, because I wasn't cool with the guy, At that time, I was like, I just really wished that, the girl that I was friends with would get out of that situation. And thankfully she did. She did. And she's, I heard recently that she's engaged to be married. And I think she's engaged to be married to an Italian guy. Not that that matters, because it doesn't matter to me. But I think of these relationships, and it's so sad that even with all, these rapper kids or whatever, they get all this money, and that dysfunction doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. And that woman, that DaniLeigh, she really loves this guy. And she could probably have any other guy that she wants, but this is the guy that she's in love with. And I feel bad. I feel bad when I see things like this. And I know it all too well. I know those things all too well. And I've seen guys do this, I've seen them where they'll pedestalize one chick and put another chick down to make and it's just to make you feel good for a moment. But don't worry, somebody else is going to come along and they're going to pedestalize that person, and they're going to put you down too. And that's exactly what happened to her. And in this case, it was sad because he put it online for the entire world to see. And humiliated her. The audacity. And she has his baby, 3-month-old baby. My son just turned 4 months. I can't imagine that. And he threw her out of the house and was telling her that she was never his girl, never his. And all I thought was, man, I hope she gets out of that situation. I really do. But the longer that she keeps staying in it, this whole thing, this is not there's already been so many encounters with them, and this is by far the worst. So many things online where it's just so much disrespect between this couple, and for some reason, I had an interest in this couple for a while now because I remember the channel that I used to support, which was Light Skin Motivation. I remember Light Skin. I remember that they used to talk about Dababy, and I was like, he was like a scumbag since then, And then when I, would hear about the relationship that he had with DaniLeigh and just how, how disrespectful it is. This is just a hood relationships 101. That's them. Like this is like, if you want to learn the dysfunction of what that's like, you hear these types of arguments that they're having on like a live. You'll hear those arguments like in every other house in the hood. Every other house. And it'll be Latin and black. I'm not just going to put this, as a black thing. I'm not. Because Latin guys do this shit also. And I know that this video is coming across like really, I don't know if I want to say like, I'm definitely not ranting, because it's like, it doesn't, look, it doesn't get me that upset. What gets me upset is the cycle, right? The cycle is what gets me upset. The cycle meaning that they reproduced, their kids are going to be growing up in this dysfunction, and that dysfunction is probably going to be passed on to the next generation. So that's the part that saddens me more than anything. And again, I'm not saying that my relationship's perfect. I'm not far from it, because boy, have we had our hell fights. Okay, my husband and I, forget it. We've been through a lot of shit. A lot. We are so far from perfect. We're so far from, I hate that fucking word too. I hate the word I hate it with a passion. I hate that word perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship, a perfect person. That does not exist. And because this Dababy guy, gaslit and probably love bombed this DaniLeigh chick in the beginning of their relationship, what she wants is for him in the beginning of a relationship, or what he gave her in the beginning of the relationship, to come back. She's never going to get that back, ever. All that was a ploy so he can get in her pants, and that's it, and to keep her stuck. That's all that was. She wants that feeling back. She wants that dopamine rise back. Because that's all that does. It's rising the dopamine in her brain. She wants that back. And every time they have sex, she thinks that he's going to be back to that old self of his. That beginning. That love bombing phase. Where he was basically telling her how great she was and how perfect she was. And she fell for it. And unfortunately, she fell so hard for it that she stuck with him for life. So all that preference stuff, that's what it gets you. It's things like this that I look back on, and, how I grew up in the hood. I'm glad I was never the preference. I was just always the exception. I was always weird. I used to kind of dress weird. But I was the exception. I was the exception, meaning that I was still able to attract people. But thankfully, I didn't attract anything this crazy. And thankfully, I saw the warning signs at the beginning that if I attracted something crazy like this, I got the fuck out. Thankfully. All the stupid mistakes I made. At least that's a mistake I didn't make. And then the other thing I thought was, this is gonna sound bad, but I don't care. Thank God she wasn't a New Yorker. Thank God she wasn't a Puerto Rican chick from New York. Thank God. Her, what's the other one? Since Santana. I'm like, thank God, man. Finally, look, we catch a break. Sorry, this is on. I get to distance myself by ethnicity in this case. Like, look, nope. Yep, you're connected to the DR still. Yep, you still got cultural connections. Yep, you got all that good, and you got all that other baggage to go along with it. Let's keep our distance, please. You got it. This is like a 20-something minute video already. So I think I'm gonna call it a day. I hope people enjoy my commentary on this. And, what I do want to say is that she does not represent all of us lighter skin, fairer skin, Latin women in the hood. She does not. Absolutely not. And I feel for her on the one hand. But on the other hand, she needs to take accountability and get the hell out of this situation. Because if she stays with this guy, she's just going to do nothing but get pregnant again. And I'm not putting the sole blame on her. I'm not. Because this Dababy guy is just, what a piece of shit this guy is. Complete and utter garbage. But she needs to get the hell out of it, especially if she wants anything good for this baby that she has. She needs to get the hell out of that relationship and stop messing with this guy. Take some of that money that he's giving you, go to therapy, and get the hell away from this guy and only deal with him on a parental basis, and that's it. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. All right. I'm going to go for now, and I will see you all in my next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye.